Welcome to Investor Intelligence, the greatest YouTube channel that's ever been created, discussing Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and pretty much everything there is to know in the known universe. So let's talk Bitcoin. I'm going to give it a few minutes and let everybody arrive, and then I want to go through Bitcoin. We'll just get straight into it. Obviously, we've had a really nice run on Bitcoin. We expected 30K to get hit. I've been talking about this for some time. Never get married to your analysis. I'm not a bear. I'm not a bull. I'm just an objective analyst looking to capitalize on whatever the market is, showing us. Obviously, we've had a pretty decent run on Binance, which I believe is moving in sympathy with Bitcoin. But obviously, this can very easily turn nasty at any moment. Now, obviously, this could take some time. Doesn't necessarily mean this is going to happen overnight, but it is something that we have to be mindful of because fundamentally nothing has changed. So before we get into the analysis, make sure you like the stream, make sure you share the stream, tell everybody about the stream. And with that said, there are two people that are listening to me right now. Could you just throw something in the chat so I know that you guys are hearing me? Yeah, no worries, Lobo. That's fine. Cool. Can you hear me? I'm sure everybody can hear me. It's fine. So I'm just going to ramble on. Bitcoin. All right. So there is this common theme within cryptocurrency, right? That Bitcoin is the be all and end all. It is the place that is going to, house most of, the money, where the money is going to be piling into, into Bitcoin, and that it is going to weather the storm that is going to be coming in the next 3 to 6 months at least, right? Could take a little bit longer, but I believe this year we're going to see some pretty insane market volatility. And the one thing I want everybody to be mindful of, okay, and I've said this before, and this is so important, right? At any moment in time, you could very easily see something like this happen on Bitcoin, and I don't care what anybody says. I physically sat and watched this happen live, both on Bitcoin. I've seen it happen on stocks. I've been halted in stocks. I've seen it happen on the Forex market. I've seen it happen on commodities. There is nothing that can prevent something like this happening if it's going to happen. And this is absolutely key because it's very easy to think, oh, if the market starts to go down, it will give you an opportunity to just continue to DCA and so on. But if something like this happens, it changes the dynamic of the way people are thinking. Psychology plays a huge role. When you see a candle like this, fear kicks in, panic kicks in, everybody's rushing to sell. What's slightly different with Bitcoin is that there are some hardliners out there that refuse to sell, and that's fine. I'm not saying Bitcoin is going to cease to exist. I'm not saying Bitcoin is going to disappear. But what I am saying is, or at least what I'm trying to say or ascertain is this rally, and I'm going to get rid of this because it's messing up the chart, but is this current rally sustainable? Is this current rally the one? Is this the bottom? Are we going to go, right? I'm not interested in listening to people online that are talking about, yay, everything's great and rosy. We're not interested in that, right? We are consistent, objective investors. We're looking at the analysis and we're trying to figure things out. How you doing, man? It's been a long time. Hope everything's all right on your end. JB, what's going on? Crypto. Cryptasset India. How you doing? You okay? You like most of my tweets, don't you? Following me for some time. Appreciate you stopping by. Don't forget to like the stream, guys, as well. If one of these days when we do a stream, I'm going to ask you guys to kind of refresh and do all of that stuff again, but not today. My main focus right now is I want to really emphasize what's happening here in the market because there's so many fundamental things that just simply haven't changed, and obviously they're going to get worse. It seems like everything's roses, but it's not. Under the surface, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. Obviously, you guys must be aware, that we're seeing stuff like, Saudi Arabia is buying Russian oil at record levels and laundering. I hate that word. They're not laundering anything, right? But we'll just go with what it says. And laundering it onto the European markets to evade US sanctions. No, they're not. What they're doing is The East is refusing to play ball with the US. So this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a big, big problem, right? And the more this continues, there are again some hardliners out there that believe, that believe the US is, is in full control of what's going on. Maybe they are. Maybe they've got some tricks up their sleeve. But either way, whether the US steps in to protect its dollar or whether the East continues to carry on like this to move away from the dollar, this is going to be an issue, because which one of those two happens, there is still this divide and there's still people moving away from the US dollar. You've got Europe now, making some references to doing the same as well. You've got Macron, he's yapping away, saying he's going to do a bunch of stuff as well to move away from the dependency on the dollar and so on. So this is, in my opinion, I believe this is planned. It feels a bit too methodical, right? But having said that, whichever one of those two sides wins per se, it is going to cause a big issue, because it's not a question of, okay, the US steps in, it protects its dollar, and then all of a sudden all of the Eastern countries just say, okay, yeah, we were wrong, we're sorry, we're going to step back in line. It's not going to happen. Absolutely not. And I think this is going to lead to war. So these are the things that we need to be mindful of, because ultimately when you have variables like this that can create insane market volatility, that's scary. That is very, very scary. So you buying Bitcoin at 15K or 20K or 30K isn't really going to matter if it drops to 10, for example, right? And if you purchase a project or something else, I don't know, let's just say XRP, for example, you've grabbed some XRP at 50. What if it drops to 10? It's not going to matter where you've purchased if we get a downturn like that. The question remains, though, are we going to see that downturn? This is the key element. This is something that is very difficult to time, but you have to look at all of these factors and say, okay, look, what is the likelihood that we just rip now for the next 2 to 3 years, for this really nice bull run? There are, again, these maxis, these hardliners, these influencers kind of really pushing the hype that Bitcoin, is basically somehow going to do this, and it's going to be a red candle. I'm sorry about this, but that's somehow going to do this, and revisit all-time high. And if it revisits all-time high, we're likely to see 100K, so on and so on. But the one thing that I will say, and this is the key to kind of take away from today's kind of live session, is a candle like this is very unlikely. If it's going to continue going higher, it's going to be grinding higher. But a candle like this is much more likely. Yeah, meaning a candle to the downside will just appear out of nowhere, right, and be super, super aggressive because it's driven by panic, fear, and greed, right? But a candle like this, you don't normally get candles like this. It would require such an immense amount of money coming into Bitcoin to create an extremely bullish, volatile candle like this that really goes to all-time high. Even if it's less, even if it's down here, yeah, it still requires an immense amount of money coming into the cryptocurrency market, especially Bitcoin, right? But to the downside, we don't need that. When money is pulled from the market, it just drops. It's like pulling the floor away and everybody just falls, right? That's a completely different scenario, and one that is much more likely to happen if money is pulled from the cryptocurrency market. There's actually a very good video out there, right, with Nicholas Merton. For those of you that are a fan of Data Dash, I absolutely love the guy. I think he's amazing. He's a great swing trader as well. His analysis is very on point, and I believe that he sees what I'm seeing. I believe he sees what the very few people are seeing, within the cryptocurrency market, within broader markets. So we have to be mindful of all of this, and moving forward, remain cautious, but obviously try to take advantage of tradable events. For example, there was a really nice pop on, on Binance. I haven't been trading Binance. I don't trade cryptocurrency market, but it's had a really nice pop. And what's interesting is this was an after pop. So if we let me show you. So you see, we had a little bit of a run, and Bitcoin was the precursor, right, to Binance following suit. It wasn't Binance, which sometimes is kind of a front runner to Bitcoin or Bitcoin's movement, because what happens is you've got money flowing out of Bitcoin into Binance, or money flowing out of Binance going into Bitcoin. There is some saturated money moving around the cryptocurrency market, and this is why we sometimes get these pops. But ultimately, is it sustainable? This is the key. This is the key question. I don't believe it is. But again, objective analysis, we're not seeing any indications that it wants to slow down for now. So I am expecting anywhere between 30 to 32. I do expect a little bit of slowdown here now because we're coming into, an area of heavy liquidity. And then going forward, The reaction at this level, is what's going to give us, give us more indication as to whether or not this is sustainable. Now, what's interesting is this is the third impulse. So we already had the first impulse. It drops back into this LP, scoops all of that up, and then we get the secondary impulse, and now we're getting the third impulse. This is very, very interesting. So this area right here where we had this consolidation, the market started to slow down, Bitcoin started to slow down, and then we're getting this secondary pop, which means it has a little bit more energy than if it just continued and capitulated a little bit, where liquidity dries up and then we start to get a bit of a downturn. So this may be sustainable for a little while. And this is why I'm kind of calling for that 31, 32,000 level. But again, remaining cautious, and still maintaining this, how can I say, this cautious but objective analysis, or this cautious but objective view on what's happening within cryptocurrency. And all the while remembering that we are 4 months up, kind of maybe a third way into April, and going into, sort of May and June, where we should start to see that volatility pick up, as they start to implement a few more things, as we start to learn of banks that are going under, as we start to realize, that there isn't that much money within cryptocurrency. Miners will start to take profits. And then obviously we've got the Mt. Gox BTC that's going to be slowly hitting the market as well. There may be some, there may be a little bit of relief from, from that as well. So yeah, some things to consider. Let me get back to the chat just to see if there's any questions. What do we got? What do we got? Sorry about that, mate. Stuff happens, but everything is okay now. No, I'm really happy to hear that, Hal. I wish nothing but the best for you. Wish nothing but the best for you, mate. Thanks for the show. You're welcome, Matthias. I think BRICS could be a good thing for the American bully. Yeah, possibly. But again, America has a very interesting take on humanity. So throughout, as you go through American history, and it's very similar to the United Kingdom's history as well, the British Empire, right? There's been a lot of this kind of, they move around the world, and there's always a conquest, right? We had the same with Alexander the Great. We've had the same with Genghis Khan. There's always been this, and Persian Empire, so on. There's always been this kind of push, for these big societies to kind of sweep the world, and leave their mark and kind of conquer and everything else, right? And the US is absolutely one of those, and the same with, the United Kingdom and the British. So we have to remember that it's like, the thing that we need to figure out is the US basically slowly losing its power? That's really what this all boils down to. Is the US slowly losing its power? And if it is, what does that mean, right? Is there going to be a violent reaction to that? Are they going to, it's like a cornered animal. Is it going to lash out? Is it going to fight back? Or is this all planned, and they're all in on it together to basically bring in, this kind of one world system, that makes it easier to, introduce a CBDC system and so on, all of these types of things. So there's a lot of things that we have to take into consideration. And I'm always open to looking at all the angles. I don't just say, well, the US is losing its power, and blah, blah, blah. The East is going to be kind of rising. We have to look at all of the variables. Is it possible that they're all in this together? Absolutely, 100%. Is it all just a show, for us mere mortals to be controlled by the powers that be? There has never been a time in history where humanity has not been suppressed, in one form or another. So again, these are things that we have to take into consideration. You have been on a rip lately with your funny and cynical tweet replies to Moonboy. Yeah, I'm trolling like crazy on Twitter. I'm really going for it. I tell you, it's not as easy as it sounds. Like, it's very difficult to come up with these. But obviously the ancient Bitcoin society, they're running rampant now. I think they're going to be making another announcement pretty soon. And America loves war. America business is war. Absolutely. War is business. Absolutely. 100%. It doesn't feel like a bull run. Let me see. Doesn't feel like a bull run is here, even with 30k Bitcoin. Volatility can swing the markets massively. Last few months swings have been massive. Absolutely. And again, caution is advised. Serge is saying, Serge, how you doing, man? For an up candle to occur, you need to see the stock market go back to all-time high. And for that to happen, you need PE ratios to go from 22 up to 32, unlikely to happen. Yeah, tomorrow is CPI. It's going to be a big deal. It should give us a better indication of what the so-called inflation problem is. I believe that the global markets will go into hyperinflation at some point. This is just ridiculous. You can't continue to print money. You can't continue to raise debt ceilings. You can't continue to increase interest rates. You can't continue to stop interest rates and then pump. You can't do quantitative easing and quantitative tightening pretty much at the same time or close together. You just can't do that. It causes an issue. It's a big problem. This is a ticking time bomb. I think this is going to hit the markets. I maintain what I keep saying. I think it's going to catch people off guard. So yeah, I mean, look, again, wanted to do a quick session because I said that I was going to put a video out today. I'm going to focus predominantly on live sessions, and I don't really want to be making videos and kind of posting those. It's better to do live, better to get some engagement from you guys. I can control what happens in a live setting as well. And as they grow, we can start to get more people involved, like-minded, investors, like-minded individuals, and we can, all kind of bounce off each other and get some ideas going. And yeah, so with that said, I'm going to give it another minute. I'm going to wait. If you guys have any questions, I'm not in a rush to leave, right? So I'm going to hang around for another, however long you need me to hang around for. But if there are no questions that come up in the next, couple of minutes, I'll call it a day, and I'll catch you guys obviously on the flip side. But if not, and there are some questions, obviously I'll answer those as well. And just as a quick one, just to give you guys a quick update as well on the old experiment. I was going to do a podcast, but I've not had a chance to get this done. So basically, we are currently up $50 each in XRP, Bitcoin, DOT, Shiba, and Binance Coin. All of those are in profit now. And obviously we have 2, 5, 9, 13, 14, we're about $15 up, which is decent. It's not bad, not bad. But obviously the experiment is to show practical investing, right? So we're being patient. Obviously if we need to add to Bitcoin on the way up, that's fine. We'll find a nice spot to do that. This will take time. This is not just going to be me throwing money into the market. We've got $750 to play with $250 invested. And the idea is over time to turn that $1,000 into something more meaningful without it going below $1,000, right? That's the key. And I want to try to show that, and obviously as we get closer to some add points or some DCA points, I'll go into it in a lot more detail. But for now, not really much to say other than that I'm up $15. Great. Dollar, not expecting the dollar, to maintain its 102. I've called it. I've already called it. I've put my neck on the line and I've said $100 on the dollar. I absolutely believe that's going to happen at some point. And we're not seeing any signs of the dollar showing strength at all. We're just seeing weakening and weakening and weakening. So again, I am expecting $100 on the DXY. Now, whether that's maintainable, whether that is sustainable, or whether that is, the start of this, sort of crash on the dollar, I don't know. But we will see $100, right? The thing is, there we go. The thing is, corporate earnings are taking a hit, and only a handful of stocks are propping up the market. One bad earnings season, and it's over. Absolutely, 100% agree, Serge. 100% agree. Cool. All right, fantastic. So I'll leave it there. Nice 20-minute session. Hope everybody has an absolutely fantastic evening, and I'm always around. If you guys need me for anything, just let me know. For those that aren't in the Discord, the link is in the description below. If anybody needs me, you can DM me there, or you can talk openly. We've got some amazing people in the Discord, always willing to help everybody. And yeah, so we'll leave it at that. Thanks, Serge. You too, mate. And I look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon. Probably in the next couple of days. It's our Holy Week this week. For if anybody's Christian Orthodox Christian, you'll know obviously it's our Easter this week as well. So I won't be around that much in the evenings, but I might be around, maybe in the day this sort of time if I can, if I can jump on. If not, then obviously, I'll be more active next week. But obviously I've got my phone, I've got my DMs, I see everything. So sweet. All right, guys, take it easy and I'll speak to you soon. Ciao for now.